The exhilarating world of MotoGP never ceases to astonish, with each race weekend providing its own unique set of drama, as well as awe-inspiring performances and technical mysteries. The Spanish Grand Prix has recently become a focal point for another chapter in the heated rivalry that defines modern MotoGP. This competition has brought to light the tremendous tenacity and talent of the sport's most accomplished competitors. In this article, we look into the most recent happenings in the world of high-speed motorcycle racing. We highlight the most significant moments and insights from the race, as well as the viewpoints of former champions and the ongoing debate regarding bike innovations. Marquez's valiant effort was overshadowed by Jerez's technical superiority, according to the first piece of news. At the center of the most recent MotoGP show was the intense competition that took place between Francesco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez during the Spanish Grand Prix in Jerez. The competition was a demonstration of tremendous tension and strategic expertise, with the conclusion being determined by the passage of only a few milliseconds. It was on the podcast Dura la Vida that Jorge Lorenzo, a retired five-time world champion, analyzed how the race unfolded and provided a more in-depth analysis of the riders' performances, as well as the technical features of their machines. It was Lorenzo who made the observation that Marquez's bravery and commitment were evident as he pushed his bike to its limits, particularly in the later stages of the race. The better speed of Bagnaia's Ducati GP24 on the straights provided him with a significant advantage, despite the fact that Marquez was working tirelessly to win the race. Underscoring the relevance of technology advantages in contemporary racing, Lorenzo said with self-assurance that the outcome might have been different if Marquez had been equipped with a GP24. The debate also went back over the contentious moments that occurred during the race, specifically a close meeting between Marquez and Bagnaia that had the potential to end in disaster but instead demonstrated their professional acumen and respect for one another's abilities. A level of sportsmanship and awareness that is only possessed by experienced racers was displayed by both riders, who were able to avoid a collision despite the intense competition that existed between them. The development of MotoGP rivalries is the subject of this connecting reflection. As MotoGP has progressed from a simple technical race to a complicated ballet of high-speed decision-making and emotional intelligence, the continued competition and sportsmanship between Marquez and Bagnaia exemplify the growth of the sport. Individual courage and strategic thinking on the part of riders are increasingly coming to the forefront as technology and training continue to progress. This is because riders' personal bravery and strategic thinking are impacting the outcomes of races just as much as the motorcycles themselves. Default text: Marquez is an added value, Bagnaia was heroic, said Paolo Simoncelli in the second piece of news regarding MotoGP. As a result of the high number of spectators and the intense competition that Bagnaia and Marquez presented on the track, the Spanish Grand Prix was a source of excitement for both fans and professionals. Paolo Simoncelli did not appear to be uninterested in any of this. As is his custom, he took stock of the situation and did not restrict himself solely to the outcomes with which his SIC58 racing team had performed. The following is what he had to say. The year is 2024, for the second round in Europe. Saturday has arrived already. Outside of the pits, I am standing on the wall. In order to gaze around, I elevate my eyes. I can sense the affection of each and every admirer, and then bam, I take a time traveler back in time. 70s Imola, the slope that is located behind the packed Ravazza corner. Oh, the wonderful moments. There are speculations that there were 300,000 fans who were able to witness spectacular and adrenaline-fueled races here in Jerez. The official number of spectators was revealed on Sunday, but it was the consequence of an error, which was later amended to 181,000, an extraordinary display of driving onto wheels. I am curious as to why the pundits on Sunday are always quick to raise a finger and blame all those who try to win, especially when it is evident that it does not come at the expense of their students. We observed two great MotoGP races, both the sprint race and the classic race, and I am wondering why they are always ready to do so. Permit me to elaborate further. It is the easiest job in the world to comment on something. I'm doing it right now as well. At the bar, everyone does it like that. Despite the fact that, as the proverb goes, we are all phenomena off the playing field, I intend to accomplish this by identifying myself and being aware of the facts. Therefore, I am perplexed as to why these influential people are unable to, at the very least, put themselves in the position of the riders who put their lives in danger in each and every race, causing us to experience a range of emotions. To put it another way, I don't believe that it is that simple to avoid making mistakes when you are on the edge of your seat and doing things that are outside the norm. What is it that we are able to forgive, or are we the authorities? Do we want races that are monotonous and devoid of color? Or do we want a little bit of excitement? The Moto3, which has evolved into the festival of penalties, has also competed on this twisting track, which is not only rich of memories that are getting older but also more recent. I'm pleased with the races that we've had so far. The qualifying for Ferrioli and Lunetta were challenging because of their paranoia and the wet rounds, but in the end, they were able to redeem themselves by winning the race. Beginning on the 13th, the first began. It opened my eyes to a facet of him that I had previously been unaware of. Even when he is engaged in a fight, he is aggressive, resolute, and exact. It's true that I was caught off guard by it. Following that, he confronted the group that he had been fighting with on a consistent basis. Lunetta was able to benefit from the experience she garnered from past races, problems, and briefings they had attended. While in Austin, he rode without any results since he was caught up in the excitement of the situation. During this particular instance, he realized that this was not the case in the middle of the race. After he had already lost numerous positions, he eventually became more composed, and after taking a few deep breaths, he made the decision to take our recommendation and refrain from riding in a nervous manner. It was then that he began to enjoy himself by racing with good times and riding a Honda in the manner that it should be raced. I would say that it is good. My feelings were validated by the tests that were conducted over the past few days. The riders moved quickly and experimented with a variety of innovative approaches. The only thing left for us to do at this point is to wait for the response at Le Mans, which will reveal the truth to us. It is impossible to predict whether or not we will be able to say, Vive la France. Michel Piro's opinion on the controversy between the GP23 and the GP24. Marc Marquez finished in second place in the Spanish MotoGP Grand Prix, ultimately falling short of Francesco Bagnaia Ducati in a fierce and furious frontal duel. In contrast to the Italian rider, the Gresini rider is equipped with the Ducati GP models from the previous year. There is a school of thought that suggests that this distinction might be relevant when it comes to winning battles. Nevertheless, Michel Piro, a test rider for Ducati, stated to GP1.com that the differences are not very significant. The fact that the comparison between these two bicycles persists is something that I personally deplore. In spite of the fact that the GP24 is an improvement over the GP23, should we continue to design motorcycles that are inferior to those produced by other manufacturers? It is important to note, however, that there is not a fraction of a second that separates the two bicycles, contrary to what some people may believe. In particular, the Italians stress that the rider is the one who makes the difference, particularly in the last phase of the race. Above all, in those last 5 laps of the GP in Jerez. It is the same whether you have the GP23 or the GP24. It is the rider's skill and, most importantly, the qualities that you possess that are important while you are exerting such a great deal of effort. Specifically, there is nothing else that can be added. Piro provided a real example from the previous year in order to further underline the idea that there are no impeding differences in an older version of the bike. He stated, "It almost seems as if the GP23 was an uncompetitive, underestimated bike, and it's not." One thing that I would want to bring to your attention is that during the previous season, Fabio Di Giannantonio had the GP22 without receiving a single upgrade during the entire season. Despite this, he put in a lot of effort and made it to the end of the season fighting for podiums and triumphs.